I'm gonna teach you the dust off the. Now you see me going like this. You gotta move the arms around, shoulders around. We'll get there. Welcome to My Real Talk. I'm your real estate expert, Kiara McLaughlin.
And I'm Roger Southam.
And for this episode, we're going to be talking about strata living, stamp duty, and technology.
Did you had a good month?
Yeah, went by as so quick. We're so busy.
I know. It just felt like
so
it
much
just
going on.
flew by.
Yeah.
I mean, September, man alive, where did that go?
Right, and they say that this is like the slowest months of the year because they travel. But for us, it's just been. The whole team's just been going.
I'd like to say we've been knocking it out the park.
Yeah.
Bit of a baseball expression there, I believe.
Is everything good with you?
Oh, good.
All right.
Exciting.
Cool.
Let's knock it
All right.
out the park.
All right, so strata living. I guess strata living could basically be more said to be like property management.
Well, I mean, it kind of hits into that in a big way. And I think it's an interesting arena because any form of communal living, and once you've got condos, townhouses, houses, whatever you call them, that are sharing any form of facility or service or anything else, you've got a communal living because...
AKA strata living.
AKA strata living, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why we named that title, but now it makes sense.
Yeah. So strata bit never made sense to me though. I don't know why they call it strata. Australians call it strata. Americans, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. The communal living, you're kind of relying on everybody wanting to live or wanting to be as you want to live. And it's interesting that you get some people who breeze through and have no issue and everything is fine, and some who there's always a something. And I think it comes down to personality types, and I think it comes down to how people interact and what people expect. One of my favorite stories ever. So in the UK, we were doing long leasehold management, which would be kind of strata management or condo management, depending on what you want to call it, covering all versions of English there, you notice? Strata living, condo living, everybody's covered. Anyway, and I was at a meeting with the board of directors for the building, and this guy said, can you do something about the bloke across the way there, because he keeps hanging his shirts in the windows, and our lease says we can't hang anything in the windows except the curtains. And I went, yeah, but I'm guessing he's only hanging the shirts there while he's ironing them. Well, yeah, but it looks messy. And in fact, in his apartment, he's messy. I don't like he's messy. I went, so how far into his flat do you actually want to dictate how he lives? I said, he might look in your flat and think, wow, that guy is obsessively tidy. He should move some things around and just be a little bit crooked and a little bit skewy. You went, oh yeah, that's a fair point. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Right.
And it's quite often one of those aspects that you can get very sucked into an issue or very sucked into a problem and not actually stand back and think through the other person, the other side, the other situation or whatever. So someone not paying a strata fee might be because they can't afford to that month, or they're month to month, or something's happened, or they've just forgotten. It may not be that they're trying to be awkward. It may not be they're trying to do anything. It's just... I get
that. Is there a part in the strata where it states like they could be taken to court if they haven't paid like 2 or 3 months?
Absolutely.
There is, right?
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
I just wanted to double check that.
There's I mean, the strata rules and regulations are pretty good and pretty clear. I mean, some stratas where they're controlling water.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. You can actually turn the water off if the water's coming through a central pipe and then being distributed, which is outrageous, I think, because water's pretty basic and of a necessity. To hold that over someone on the fees is wrong. But in terms of the management and the running, the most effective I found over my very long career in property and very long career in property management aside from broking, is that engagement with people, that working with people, picking up the phone and talking with them, or just engaging with them, rather than the sort of putting your head in the sand or ignoring them, or not entertaining. There's any other way than one way to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been asked to take on a couple of managements, which is super exciting, and
we've been asked to do more than that.
I know, but we've been shy.
Yeah.
We're being coy.
We're being humble. We're not saying much, but we've been asked to do more.
But we're not.
All positive.
But we're not going to go out and market for management, and we're not going to go out and. I don't want all the management.
Right.
Because there's a number of places on the island I wouldn't want to manage.
Yeah. Well, I know right now we went through something with a Strata.
Yeah.
And that was a headache, but we got it.
Yeah, no, we did, and we got it sorted. But that's where
I think that's where your expertise come into, because some of the stuff that you did to save that, I was just like, you could do that? As for other agents, they only do sales and rentals, and that's it. They don't know how to put together a strata. It doesn't interest them. They just want to make the sale and move on, where we put in value, where the commission
absolutely.
comes in.
But then equally, in some situations, what we will do is run a tender to bring in managing agents, because it won't be right for us and how we work. Because we want to bring in technology to make the stratas more efficient and more effective, and they enable us to run at lower fees on the management of the strata, because I don't want to run around and have my team running around like headless chickens trying to go and look at this, look at that, do this, do that, when technology can do all that for you. It comes at a price, but it's a lower price than having someone running around doing it. But again, people can have a reaction of, I'm not paying for that technology. Fine, then we're not for you. No problem at all.
Which I think is kind of ridiculous, because
it's
more efficient.
It is.
It doesn't take much of your time, where you have to go and arrange a meeting, you know.
No, but not everybody's the same.
Yeah.
And change is not always appreciated by some. And what is efficient for us, for others mean they have to do something that perhaps they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And everybody's different. And I think acknowledging that difference, like for example, some people want to pay 7% in fees. Good luck to them. Come to us, you can only pay from 2%. But everybody's different. You're happy paying that? Knock yourselves out.
That's true. That is true.
Where are we going now?
You had a question?
Oh yeah, we had a question in. So, after the last program, someone asked us why did we not talk about the stamp duty and first-time Caymanians when we were talking about the 18 to 20-year-old and how they bought property. And so we thought we would talk about that as a topic, and we thought we would pick up on that and actually bring out a bit more on that, because there's a lot of advantages for the first-time Caymanian buyer. There's a lot of advantages for the Caymanian buyer, full stop, and it's making sure you make best use of what there is available to you and making sure that you get the best. Do you want to explain the basics first, and then we'll look at what they can do with it?
Yeah, so for first-time Caymanian buyers, if you're buying a raw land, you have up to $150 to get your stamp duty waiver waived. They could give you an exemption for 2% stamp duty payment up to $200K max. And then for a property on the land, you have up to $400, and then for the 2% exemption as well, you could be eligible for, you have up to $500K CI for Caymanians. And then everything after that is 7.5% of the selling price of the property, which could be kind of heavy sometimes.
Yep.
But the government is actually planning, I heard they're planning to reduce, and hopefully Caymanians can actually get their properties waived multiple times, I think up to a certain amount.
Well, I think there's a number of things that they're looking at of I heard a piece on, I think it was Radio Cayman, where they were talking, it might have been the finance minister was talking about increasing the threshold on stamp duty waiver to try and help out Caymanians. What you want to think about is when you're using that first-time purchase and maybe buying with someone, because you can get an advantage over how that gets allocated and how that gets used and the ability to extrapolate. So as a Caymanian buyer, whilst there is a lot in the market, and it rips my heart to pieces in terms of that more isn't done for kind of Caymanians and what the sort of direction of travel on bits and the difference between expats and Caymanians and other bits. I know I'm always going to be a visitor on this island however long I live here, and it just behoves to give in to the Caymanians and try and help.
Well, hopefully the government will actually do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot they can do. And affordability is another aspect that a lot needs to be done. And that's a whole other topic that we'll pick up in a future podcast. But what I was going to say was in terms of the sort of help for the Caymanians, there's a lot of things that are there, and it's worth knowing what is available to you, what you can take advantage of, and making sure that you're getting solid advice on how to take best advantage and best use and get the best out of what is there for you.
Yeah, reach out. I got you. Reach out.
She's good, little rock star.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we're slowly getting there. Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, it took me a lot to get my first property, and I saw another young lady complaining on Facebook about it, and I kind of just commented and said just words of encouragement, like nothing comes easy and stuff do take time, because real estate is not easy. That's why we're here to take away all of that excessiveness for you, but it is possible for sure if you put your mind to it.
So real estate is like a puzzle where in terms of putting the pieces together, it's knowing the picture you're trying to create, and it is taking each of the elements. So you've got the mortgage you need to get, you've got the deposit you need to get, you've got to be able to make the repayments on the deposit, you've got to get the property that you want to buy or the land you want to buy, you've got to get all those elements put together, and having someone to hold your hand that can do those or find those bits or help with those bits or make them the best shape possible so it all fits together, and the outcome is the picture that is your dream home, and that's what we're trying to achieve. But it's not just ready. It's not a ready packaged thing. It's not tied up in a bow. It's not like it's sitting under the Christmas tree. It's not like it's there. You've got to piece the bits together, and that's where understanding real estate, understanding construction, understanding development, understanding ownership, understanding stratas, understanding the running costs, for example. It's all very well having the mortgage repayments, but then you've either got your strata fees or you've got your maintenance of your property or the upkeep of the property. Because if you don't maintain it, you're going to see the value of your asset declining as opposed to growing, which is what should happen. So it's all those elements and aspects that work together, that you need an international man of mystery to make life easier.
So now you mentioned something about technology when it came to property management and how people don't really like to try new things. When technology is actually making life a lot easier, to be honest. It's helped with arranging meetings with other people, helps with long distance calls, and if you want to see far away family, that has nothing to do with real estate, but I'm just trying to give a general idea of what it has done.
And who knew that we needed to have a camera, all our music, all our diary, all of our games, if you have games on there, all of our social media, all all of that on one little machine until Steve Jobs came along and thought he'd make the iPhone. And a lot of the technology, a lot of the evolution and developments that are coming, you don't know that you need them until they appear. So, and that's this, because if you ask someone what would make your life easier, they'll be fairly, not for any bad reason, they'll be fairly limited and narrow in their thinking. Whereas what is coming through and from a technological point of view, easy for you to say, is so out there for making our lives easy. So if we take Strata Management, for example, there's a product that we're using that lets us manage the stratas to know who is on site, how long they've been on site, whereabouts they've been on site. So we know that the landscapers, the pool maintenance, all the other suppliers are meeting the times they're supposed to go, are there for as long as they're supposed to be there, cleaners, etc., refuse guys. And we don't need to run around to find out when something's done or what's been done or have they done the right time. So if a resident phones up and says, "Oh, I've got a guy wandering around our strata, who is it?" Now, back in the day, when I first arrived on island, you'd have that phone call and you'd be, I don't know, you just sound ridiculous. Whereas now I can look at our dashboard and go, right, that is X from Y from Z, and they're doing this, and that's why they're there. And it gives you an ability to manage effectively, and it gives confidence to the strata owners. And then in the sort of portals that we have, the residents can report an issue or a fault to us. They can send us a photograph of it. We can get it instantly instructed. We can move it all forward.
Basically, make your life easier.
Well, that's
a lot
yeah,
easier.
Exactly.
It does help. I've seen the technology. It's pretty dope. Well, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Dope works.
Yes.
Down with the kids.
You know, I speak professional, but you know, I'm getting there. You know.
Kiara's trying to make me about 20 years younger than I am, which is so sweet, and trying to get me hip and trendy. It was only last week she said, "I've got to stop your dad dancing." Yeah.
We're working on it.
We're working on
that dance. You just got to teach them the two-step, and then, you know?
Yeah, we know.
Oh boy, but yes.
Anyway, so the whole purpose of the technology is to make your life easy, to simplify the running, and the end game being to be able to run them more cost effectively and cost efficiently. And it isn't about increasing prices or anything else. It's all about making it efficient and effective and giving better service.
Right.
Quite simply. But it's not for everybody, which is fine.
Yep.
No, some people are still using Nokias, I'm sure, without having all the apps and all the other bits.
Using what?
Okay, yeah. So
you said Nokias?
Nokias. They were a phone back in the 90s that had nothing on them except, I remember when phones you could just make a phone call. That's what the phone was.
Nokias.
Yeah.
Nokia. That's what he means?
N-O-K.
You mean Nokia? You talking about Nokia?
Have I said that wrong as well?
No. What
Nokia.
you said it was?
Nokia.
You call... I hear thinking you talking about a whole other... I know about Nokia.
I hate to think what you were thinking of for Nokia.
No, I was like Nokias. You said Nokias.
Nokia.
Nokia. Nokia.
Nokia.
Nokia. That's the real pronunciation of it.
Planane. Planane.
No, we could go to the makers and ask them how to say it.
What, the plantains?
No. Okay.
Hey, old school.
Whoa. We getting him there. I like it.
So,
I like it.
Nokia. So Planane, but Nokia. Okay, Nokia. Go on.
All right, we're going. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let that topic go.
There you go.
Okay, so you mentioned that you had 2 other questions from people who are interested in
I did.
Yeah.
The second question was about the fees and wanting some clarity on the 2% and what the extra bits were and what was going on with that. So quite simply, we are saying we'll charge fees from 2%. We are saying that...
But we explained this in episode 2.
I know, but they were confused about the marketing bits. So we're just going to clarify that bit for them. If that's what somebody has a question about, I'm always going to answer it.
All right.
So the marketing costs, all the extra out-of-pocket expenses are going to be on top.
Of the 2%.
On top of the 2%, exactly. So if you don't want to have out-of-pocket expenses and all the other bits, then we'll increase the percentage and we'll do all inclusive. So that's why it's a discussion and a conversation about what works best for you, but it's always going to be open, it's always going to be transparent, it's always going to be what works best for you. But
because your happiness is what matters.
It's the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters. Yeah.
Thank you for watching My Realtor. If you like this episode, please subscribe. If you have any comments, please comment below, and we'll see you next month.
That was awesome.